Hi. Hello, YouTube. What's up? It's been a long week, but I'm back with another solo podcast episode. Today, I want to talk about why joining a run club has been one of the best decisions that I've made so far this year in 2025. So, at the start of 2025, we were in the midst of a pretty cold winter here in upstate New York. And on the surface, I was doing okay. I had 2 steady jobs. I had a pretty consistent fitness routine. I was doing some stuff with music, but I was also really lacking in the social department. I was feeling quite unfulfilled with the state of my friendships and where my social life was. I noticed that I was spending more time by myself. I was isolating myself a little bit more, and frankly, I was also just a little bit bored of my friendships, and this thought was nagging at me that I needed to make a change. At the beginning of the year, I decided I was also going to be a little bit more intentional about traveling with the hopes that it would spark some sort of life in me. Early in the year, I took a trip to Philadelphia and I traveled to Seattle by myself. During my trip to Seattle, that itch, that craving for social connection, magnified a little bit more. It was really clear that when I got back from Seattle that I needed to make a change involving my social life. I had to look at my schedule and figure out what the best days and times were for me to do something social. And I landed on Monday evenings after work. And there were 2 options I was considering. One was a comedy open mic. So I was sort of dabbling in stand-up comedy at that time. And I had performed in February and it had went pretty well. And I felt like this was something that I could get better at and be good at. And then the second option was this run club that one of my friends had told me about the year before. And I had actually gone to one run club meetup back in October, but then I didn't go to any afterwards. So I was thinking about going back again, but obviously I knew that I needed to be consistent regardless of which event I chose to go to. So I weighed the pros and cons, and I eventually settled on the run club. And there were 2 main reasons for that. One, running or distance running, mid-distance running, is not something I gravitate towards. It's not something I really like, and it's not something I'm really that good at. So it was a bit out of my comfort zone. It was a bit intimidating. We run a 5K every week, and again, not my strong suit. So that scared me a little bit. The second reason is that the run club has a lot of people around my age, people in their 20s and 30s. Whereas the comedy open mic, the age range is a little bit more varied, and because it's a performance, there isn't really as much focus on the socializing. People do socialize at open mics, right? But a lot of it is you're listening to the performer, you're waiting for your turn to go up to perform. It's a different vibe, and it didn't resonate with me as much, and it also didn't scare me as much. I want to go back to my trip to Seattle and tell you about kind of a synchronicity moment that reassured me that attending Run Club was the right move. So on my flight from Chicago to Seattle, I ended up seated next to this guy, right? And when I sat down, I had a book in my hand. It was Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. I put my book in my seat, and I noticed that the guy next to me also had a book. It was by Ryan Holiday, which is a guy I'm familiar with. I've never read his stuff, but I've seen his stuff on YouTube. And the guy started a conversation with me when he saw the book I was reading, which led me to ask him about the book that he was reading. And then from there, we, asked the standard surface level questions, and it got a little bit deeper. But anyways, the synchronicity part of this story is that eventually I learned that this guy was a long distance runner. He was about to run the Boston Marathon, I believe. And I was wearing my running shoes for that trip, which are Brooks Ghosts, and they're like gray and green. And apparently this guy, he had the exact same running shoes I did, same colorway. That to me was really quite a significant coincidence, especially because I was starting to think about doing this run club. Synchronicities, the universe, I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on spirituality or like the universe sending signs, but I took that as a sign of reassurance that I was making the right move to do this run club. As I'm recording this, it's October 5th, and I've been attending run club every week for over 5 months. I've only missed one Monday, and it's been one of the best things I've done for myself this year. For one, my social circle has expanded a lot. I've made a lot of new casual friends, and a few of us also attend this trivia night on Tuesdays. A second benefit from joining the run club is that it's forced me to grow in the romantic department. I developed a small crush back in the spring, and I kind of had to summon up the courage to approach and initiate conversation with this person without making a fool of myself. I guess the moral of this story is to get out of your comfort zone every now and then, because there's a lot of growth on the other side, and you'll thank yourself later. Okay, I'll see you guys next week.